divisions and spans, breaking up our pages. The div tag creates divisions in a web page. We use the div tag to create logical sections in a web page. Think of the div tag as a generic container. The div tag is a block level container, but unlike paragraphs and H1s through H6s, there is no space before and after them. Here's an example of how to use the div tags. Look at the right column. We have a movie page. We have these natural categories, sci-fi, action, and drama. And if you want to break your page up into these categories, you can put a div around specific content that belongs to each of these categories. For example, the sci-fi and all of its movies has a div around it. The action has a div around it, and the drama has a div around it. These dotted lines that you see on the right-hand side are the way that Dreamweaver depicts divisions. However, when the end user sees this page, those divisions would be invisible unless you as a designer had used Cascading Style Sheet to put a border or some other change on the division. Divisions can have IDs. All divisions should be uniquely named using the ID attribute. Why? Because each uniquely named division can have its own Cascading Style Sheet rules. That's right. We can style each one of these individual divisions by calling it by name in our Cascading Style Sheet code. We can also give each division a name, and it creates a logical structure for the page. In this example, we can see that we have named our div ID title, which is that section, that division that contains the movie page. Notice that the next section, we've named it div ID sci-fi, and the next one div ID action, and the one below that div ID drama. So we can see that each of these divisions has its own unique identifier. It's like a name for the division, and we can style each one differently later if we wanted to using Cascading Style Sheet code. Spans. The span tag creates a container that wraps around inline content like text and images. Whereas a div is a big block, spans are for inline content. So what do I mean by that? That just means that if you have a paragraph of text and you want to change something within it, you're going to use a span, not a division. Spans and division are both generic containers. Divisions are block level, spans are inline. Here's an example of how you might use a span, just to get started. Look down here where I've circled span around the word 2003 in parentheses. And then look at the example on the right to make the connection. See how all of the years are styled in green? 2003, 1996, 2000, 1988, and 2003. They're all green. That's because we wrapped a span around each one of them in the code. In other words, we created a generic container around all of the years. Then we used Cascading Style Sheet code, as you can see up above between the style tags. In this specific case, we decided just to say that we wanted to use the span tag as an identifier, and we wanted to color it green. In other words, everywhere we see a span tag, make it green. All the contents, therefore, within our span tags in this example are green. Div and span, the bottom line. For now, all we really need to know is that div and span create generic containers around our content and help us label, organize, and divide our pages into logical sections. Once our pages are segregated, we can apply cascading style sheet rules to the individual sections.